everybody, we're going to use our Simply Scored today, and we're going to use a piece of Daffodil Delight that I cut at 8 by 11. We're going to score it at 2, 5, 7, and 10. Then we're going to go ahead and turn it sideways, and we're going to score it at 2. So I'm going to set that aside for a minute until I need it for the lid. Go ahead and fold all your score lines. And then you're going to want to cut this little piece right here completely out. And then these other score lines, just cut up to the bottom score line. Now before I put this whole thing together, I want to go ahead and decorate the front of my box. So I'm going to set this aside for just a moment. And I have a piece of very vanilla cardstock that is 5.5 by 2.5, and a piece of the Summer Smooches DSP that is 2.25 by 5.25. I'm just going to flip this over, put some snail on there, and adhere the DSP to the very vanilla cardstock. Flip that over, and I'm going to put this on what is going to be the front of my box. Set it back aside, and I have another piece of very vanilla scratch paper. I'm going to use my Daffodil Delight and my Gumball Green ink pads. And I'm going to use the Mixed Bunch flour. Now I'm going to stamp one of the Mixed Bunch flour in the Gumball Green. Close that up and clean up my stamp. There we go. And then I'm going to use my Daffodil Delight ink pad. Now this is one of the old ink pads, so you really got to ink it up. The new ink pads are fantastic. And you want to stamp 2 in Daffodil Delight. Set that aside. Now I'm going to use my Blossom Punch, and I'm going to punch these out. There we go. And what I'm going to do with these is they're a lot of fun. This green one is actually going to be leaves. I'm not exactly sure where I saw it done at, but I just absolutely love the idea of cutting this apart and using it for leaves. Now I'm going to use 2 soft suede buttons, and I'm going to stick the buttons on with mini glue dots. I'm going to stick those right in the center. Then I need my Stampin' Dimensionals. I'm going to stick one of the Stampin' Dimensionals on each of the back of the flower and one on each of the front of the leaves. Take these off, the little papers. Stick one right there and stick the other one on there. Then I'm going to bring my box back in. I'm going to take the flower paper off of one. I'm going to set my flower on there and do the same thing, and I'm just going to stagger this one a little bit over this way with the leaves facing the opposite direction. So there is the front of my box. You can always put a saying on the front or do whatever you like, but I'm just going to leave mine plain. Then you want to use your sticky strip, and you can use 1 or 2 strips on here, and you just put it on the small little end, the 1-inch score line end. Then I'm going to flip it over, and I'm going to remember which one of these is in line with the front of my box. So I'm going to flip that over, and I'm going to put 2 more on this one piece. There. So flip that back over, take the red part off, and then just close it up. But when you're closing it up, fold the littler tabs, the skinnier ones, in so that they will close right along with it. Then bend this down, and this part will actually go on top of the 1-inch piece. And just line it up. Flip it upside down, fold one side in, the one that doesn't have the sticky strip. Take the sticky strip off, or the red part off. And then fold this piece over. So that'll give you your box. But of course you have to have a lid so that your gift or whatever you decide to put in there doesn't fall out. So I'll set that aside. And I have a piece of Daffodil Delight that is 5 by 4. I'm going to bring my Simply Scored back in. And I'm going to score it on every single side at 1 inch. Go ahead and fold your score lines. And then cut in from the sides up to the score line. Just cut 4 times on opposite, just like how I just did. Flip it back over and use your sticky strip to secure the 4 corners. And usually when they're little tiny corners like this, I just take a big piece like you just saw me do, and I just cut it up. That way I don't have to worry about going over or anything like that. This stuff is pretty tough, so you don't have to worry about it not sticking. So take all the red off. And then adhere your box together. Now you can, if you like, cut these in half, and it'll actually line up a lot better. And I think that's what I'm going to go ahead and do, is I'm just going to cut some off so that it'll line up a little bit better, so I don't have anything hanging over. There we go. Okay, so that's all put together now. I want to dress up the box just a little bit more. So what I'm going to do is I have a piece of 3-inch by 1-inch Very Vanilla cardstock. I'm going to use my scallop trim border punch to go ahead and punch out a little border. And then just to make sure it fits the way I want it to, nope, it's a little bit too long. So you can cut yours down. And then I'm going to put sticky strip on the front, or excuse me, snail on the front. I'm going to slide this in there right to where I want it hanging out at and press it down to make sure that it's going to stay. Now when you bring your box back in, it might seem like it's a little bit too snug, but if you just push this corner in right there and then pop it down, it'll actually pop right back into place so that your box lid fits nice and snug. But I still want it to look really professional and want it to look super pretty like the department stores. So I'm going to put a piece of sticky strip right here on the bottom. And my paper does not want to come off of my scissors. Take that red part off, and I have some Daffodil Delight ribbon, and I'm going to pull a bunch of it out, and it's the taffeta ribbon, excuse me. Pull that out, stick it on the bottom so it's nice and tight. I'm going to cut off some of it, and I'm going to pull it up, and I'm going to tie it into a bow. There we go. And I'm actually going to just pull this down a little bit to make the bow a little bit smaller. Pull these out front, and I actually want them to dangle a little bit, so I'm just going to trim them up just a tiny bit. And there you go, a nice professional, sweet looking little box for any summertime gift. I hope you have a great time creating, and I will see you next time.